Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Uncharted 3 Brutal Difficulty video walkthrough. This is Chapter 21, Atlantis of the Sands, and this is probably my favourite location in the Uncharted series. I love this Alabaster Kingdom and the golds, and this is a really tricky fight too. So, as soon as you spawn in, you're going to get assailed by humans that are actually djinns, and then they will transform, and then you have to proceed to finish them off. So they are enemies that have 2 lives, basically. So any 2 hits from powerful weapons will put them down, or an extended period of damage from any normal weapon will also do the trick. All I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm going to stay near this cover and I'm going to use the grenade launcher because we have a refill coming up, and it enables me to be aggressive while dealing incredible damage. There's going to be a checkpoint when this comes up, and then in the transition, because when you die, they put you underneath here for some reason, and of course, I definitely died because these enemies are very dangerous. The djinns can feel bullshit when they hit you with things like that and it doesn't kill you, which is actually a blessing because that should have probably one-shot me, but it doesn't, which is nice. But whenever they teleport, they will always teleport behind you. So if you deal damage, they will teleport somewhere where you aren't looking, so immediately spin your camera and try and find them, because if you don't do it quick enough, you are dead. Every time. And you're going to see it here. Teleports behind me, does this, teleports again, he's over there, I hit him and he teleports now, and he's behind me. So I have to spin the camera and put him down. If I don't do that, I die. And there was a really weird moment then when I think he tried to punch me when he was already dead. So it went into an animation, and then when it came out, it flopped down. But that's the end of the fight, and it looked easy, didn't it? It looked like I just ran around like Sinbad and took everybody down. It's not the case, guys. I had incredibly powerful weapons, and the djinns gave me a good pattern. If anything, I think this chapter's very difficult because it's very tough to control enemies that can teleport, so they can kind of do what they want. But when they open those doors, you can spawn kill a bunch of them, and I was practicing trying to get it so I could kill all of them with a grenade that I chucked early, and then I fired the grenade launcher, but I just couldn't get it to sync up because the moment it opens, if you don't put yourself in cover, they just spray you down. And I had a lot of difficulty getting from under here after I'd done those set grenades. So I recommend that you experiment if you want to, or you just kind of, do what you can, because survival here is key. However you do it, it doesn't really matter, does it, as long as you do. And my advice, try and stay in cover, try and hit them with really powerful weapons. There's a ton of great guns in this room, so after the fight is over, feel free to run around and get more of your Magnum, get more of your grenade launcher, and just be aware that every enemy you fight on this level is going to be these fellas, but you're never going to fight them again, so enjoy it, because they are a very interesting gameplay tweak. Because all they are really is aggressive soldiers, but the tweaks that they get when they've got that grenade they can throw, when they've got that like Kamehameha they can do, and the teleport makes them very threatening, and then they can shoot you too, so they've kind of got a lot of good strengths. And we're going to be coming up on another fight here once Nathan's finished hallucinating back to his childhood, as we get to run back through some reused assets, which I think this would have been great if we were fighting djinns here. I can appreciate what they were doing for story reasons, and they wanted to bring the spiders back, but I reckon if there was djinns waiting for us, like the people in the street were buying fruit from vendors, as my throat dies. But just the normal tourists and the locals just suddenly, as you came into the screen, started transforming into djinns, and then you were fighting them. I think that could have been amazing and really, really challenging, but instead they went for spectacle, they went for spiders, they went for this massive homage to the very beginning of the game, the Drake quote that we played earlier. And it's funny too, because the path that you take is the same path you took when you were younger, so you've already done this level. The only difference now is it's easier because you don't have people who can grab you and instantly make you fail. You have the spiders, which can probably do something very similar. And then after the cutscenes, you're going to see Sully. I put a bullet in his face. I don't know if that's the quickest way to skip that sequence, but it's what I always do. And then when you push forward here, you're going to spawn a fight. So once you drop to the bottom of this area, it's going to lock a door, and then you're going to get a bunch of djinns that come from behind you. If you're not too sure what a djinn is, just for the cultural side of it, it is traditionally a fire demon from mythology. I forget which one it is, but it's a really interesting word as well. It's essentially a bad genie in some definitions of it, which I think is really, really cool. But just think of it as like a malevolent spirit. It's kind of what it is. And if you've played the game, you know what's happening anyway, so you don't have to worry about it. It's explained. But I spawn grenade a bunch of them because I know I can get a refill, and the next fight is very tricky, so you want to have full grenades. I don't know what he was doing. He kind of gave me a courtesy call and then ran away. A little bit like killer whales, if you've ever watched documentaries on them. they like to claim prey because they always attack in a group. So they will drive by you and just brush your side, and that means that they've claimed you, and the next pass they do, they're going to come and kill you. Obviously, I hope they don't do that to people, but that's what they do to their prey, and we are prey to them because they're giant ocean monsters. If we're in the sea, you know, we deserve to be prey. It's just how it works, dog. So here's a couple of djinns just chilling out, doing fancy hand karate stuff, and I shot them all with the Dirty Harry, so that's the end of that. Very simple, that particular room. Now you want to take as much as you can into this next fight, because the next fight I think is probably one of the hardest in the game. And I say that for one reason. It's kind of luck-based. You can die in the space it takes you to blink, and you can survive in moments where you really shouldn't. There's no arbiter controlling this except for RNG. And my recommendation is to be as aggressive as possible and just throw grenades, shoot shit, just go nuts. I immediately throw a grenade to the left, and then I run across to the left after I've thrown all my grenades that way. And I found that sticking near the fountain was a great strategy unless you get flanked. If you get flanked, you're dead, so it doesn't matter. But as long as you can keep them from flanking you by putting pressure on them, I had a lot of success here. At the end, I am going to move because I wanted to put myself away from the other dudes because they're going to come to the left. See how he teleported behind me? Right now, he can kill me if he wants to, and he chose not to. I get aggressive on this guy because I know it's better than staying there, and I put myself back in cover. Somebody throws a crazy firebomb. I put a grenade over there just to force him out of cover. This guy doesn't kill me for some reason, so I get Gears of War 1 shotgun on him with a grenade launcher. A couple of quick shots, put him down, finish him off, and I think there's one dude left. No, that's it, because Nathan spoke. So that's the end of the fight, and I can't tell because I'm playing without volume, which is why I'm really tentative, and I didn't hear him speak. But it looked easy, didn't it? It looked like I just ran around like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I put everybody down. But that's not what happened on all the other runs. I died here maybe 10 times, and it was always at the beginning of the fight, or if I got flanked. And that's the problem with Brutal. You can't recover. It's a difficulty where when you make a mistake or where you get unfortunate, there's no coming back from it sometimes. And if you do come back from it, it's nothing to do with you. And I think that's my only criticism of it, is the fact that it doesn't matter how good you are, you cannot salvage a bad situation sometimes. You're just gonna die, because perfect aim and 2-bullet kills means there's literally nothing you can do. And I hate that expression. It reminds me of a YouTuber that I detest in an almost ironic way. But it's true, you know? It's one of the very rare moments where there's not a lot you can do, and I would compare it to something like in God Hand, which is a game that I mention a lot because I love it. There are moves in that game where they put you in a set animation, and you have a set amount of recovery once you get out of that animation, and if an enemy starts attacking you when you go into it, as you come out you will take a hit because you physically cannot do anything to avoid it. And it's because you put yourself in that spot, of course, but it's also, you can see the move coming, you can understand what's going to happen, and you can spam evade like a maniac and you will still get hit, because you didn't have enough time. And I really don't like that kind of precedent in games. It's like I've spoke on other walkthroughs about saving yourself into a corner and getting in a really bad spot because of autosaves or because of manual saves. Right now there is a puzzle. You have to use your reflection in the pool to help you turn these machines. It's an interesting one. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but, you know, they had fun with this moment, I guess. But it's funny because in Uncharted 2, I really didn't like the transformed villagers that ate that fruit, you know, the blue dudes, the troll dudes, I forget the name of them. I didn't like those enemies on my first playthrough of that game. I didn't much like that game too much on my first playthrough in a lot of ways. I thought it was great for what it was, and I thought it was high concept, but I thought the mechanics fell apart a lot to me, because I came off of a game called Gears of War, and in Gears of War the mechanics were so polished when it came to shooting and cover, that when you come to a game like Uncharted that just doesn't have the same quality, although it has it in other areas of course, and it is a different type of game, I just felt like it didn't control well, and it was loose, and it just didn't feel as good. Yet, when I came to this game, I really liked the djinns, and I wanted there to be more of them. Even though on the previous game, the supernatural element I really detested. And then when I came back a few years later to do the Brutals, I really liked the blue guys. And I couldn't understand what had changed. And I've come to really appreciate these games because I've played them all now, and I understand how they function. And instead of comparing them to something that at the time I worshipped, I've looking at them as their own thing and appreciating them for what they do. So I've definitely come a long way when it comes to Uncharted, but I still have a lot of criticisms of them, and I do share them. But that's the end of the video, guys. I'll see you in the finale. It's a very tricky level. Do not fear Talbot, though. He's a bitch. We're going to put him down like Donkey Kong. And thank you for watching. You take care now.